Hey everybody, Howard here. So today I'm going to be showing you how to build this multi-story bird condominium. Really, this is one of my best selling projects. I started out doing some smaller birdhouses, and I really wanted to see really how big I could get the price point on it. And so far this thing has done well for me, whether online or at local arts and craft shows. So without further ado, let's get into it. So for this project, I'm going to be using two 10-foot 1x8s that we picked up from the hardware store.
Now I'm not sure how well the camera's going to pick it up, but one of these boards I found has some pretty unique grain in it for being a pine. So I'm really excited to see how this thing's going to turn out.
So the first thing we need to do is cut our main centerpiece for the back of the birdhouse. It's going to be 28 inches, but we're also going to be putting a 15-degree angle on one of those ends. So I'm just going to go ahead and make things easy and cut off a piece and work from there.
And now we'll set our saw to 15 degrees. And now we're going to cut this to where the back of our angle will line up flush with the back side.
So now that we got our back piece cut out, to get our measurements for the sides, we're going to come from the inside or the bottom of this angle and measure to the bottom of our board, which is going to be 27 5/8.
So we're going to move our saw back to 0, and we're going to set our miter to 15. And now we'll measure 27 5/8 from here down to here and set our saw back to 90 degrees. And then we'll just go ahead and repeat that process for the other side. So now that we got our main back and side pieces cut out, we're going to need to get our measurement for the front piece. But before we can do that, these side pieces are going to sit like this with the face on top. And so to get this box perfectly square, we're going to have to take 1.5 inches off of each of these sides. And then we'll be able to pull our measurement once it's cut. So now we can go ahead and pull our measurement for the front piece, and that's going to be 26 even. Now we will set our saw back to 15. So now that we have the main body cut out, we can go ahead and start working on the side boxes. We're going to need 2 of the side pieces cut at 21 inches, 14 inches, and 7 inches. So to make our top pieces for each of our individual box, we're going to go ahead and cut 4 pieces at 7¼ inches, and then we can take them over to our table saw and we'll be able to put the 15-degree angle on them. So we're going to go ahead and set our table saw blade at 15 degrees, and then our fence is going to be set at 7 inches. Alright, so now that we've got all of our pieces cut out, we can go ahead and get started on some of the assembly. So to assemble my back piece, I'm going to put some pocket slots on the outer boards, and then we'll be screwing into our center.
So basically we're just going to go ahead and repeat the same process here. Alright, so we've got our front, we've got our back assembled. So now we're going to take our long side pieces and we're going to go ahead and nail those into place. Alright, so since this is going to be multi-story, we're going to have to cut out some pieces to go on the inside to act as floors. And the measurements for those are going to be 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. Now we need to mark our holes for our entrance. So I went ahead and pulled down 4 and 11, and then center here is going to be 3 5/8. And now we can go ahead and add our front piece. Alright, so now our next step is going to be adding our side pieces on. I've gone ahead and pre-drilled out our holes, and we're just going to go ahead and glue and nail those on like so. So now we can go ahead and start working on our front, and just like everything else, we've got our side pieces here. We're going to pocket slot those in, and now we can go ahead and add our front piece on. So for our next step, I like to add these little perches underneath all of our openings, and so we're just going to use some drop from where we cut our sides out. And then we're just going to measure the width, and then we'll put some 15-degree angles on it. Now, just to add a little bit of contrast to this project, I'm going to be staining the perches and the roofs. I'm going to use this Minwax wood stain in the honey color, which is probably my favorite color that they make. So now we can go ahead and start nailing on all of our roof pieces. Now we can add our main perch. And now we can add all of our smaller perches, and we're going to match the distance with the front, so that's just going to be 1 inch below each of the holes. So now we're going to go ahead and cut out our bottom. That's going to be 2 pieces the same width. Now lastly, we can go ahead and put on our finish. I like to use this spray-on polyurethane, especially for projects like that where there's a lot of nooks and crannies and things. It's just a lot easier to spray it than to try and brush it on. Well, that about wraps up this project. If you made it this far in the video, we really appreciate you taking your time to watch. A like and a subscribe would really help us out if you like what we're doing here on the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.